Stop that. Stop that. Stop that. I hear him chat to the noise. Move too quick, can't stop for the talking. I hear him chat with the walking. Just too sharp with the prize. White girls let it tell me I'm awesome. Yeah, hot like fire on the pan. If you wanna touch my please use caution. Cold like 0 degrees. I'm out the cage, gotta let out the beast. Revolutionary, gotta let out the streets. Locked in a cage, I'ma let out the sheets. You can't go up, man, forget my peace. You take the west, I'll take on the east. I'ma put them in the cage, never let out the. I hear him chat to the noise. Move too quick, can't stop for the talking. I hear him chat with the boys. Man so tough, but man's keep walking, yeah. Just too sharp with the prize. White girls, let it tell me I'm awesome, yeah. Hot like fire on the pan. If you wanna touch me, please use caution. Stop that. Stop that. Stop that.
I know that people come to this show for a distraction. We have a fun cast in today. I guarantee you we will be that distraction from what happened over the weekend. But we can't start this show without discussing the tragic events of the weekend. One person lost their life. A couple people are still receiving medical attention, injured from the assassination attempt on former President Trump's life over the weekend. And to say it was jarring to experience all of that, I think, is an understatement. I kind of felt numb. Where were you when you heard the news?
I was sitting at home. I too felt numb. You start to ask yourself questions as to how this is happening in 2024. You start to think about the gun laws in the United States of America. You start to think about the Secret Service. You start to think about how lucky Donald Trump is to be alive today, and you wonder and you ask yourself, how could someone get that close with a rifle, with any sort of weapon, to a former president and a guy who was currently running for president of the United States? I was numb as well.
Yeah, I couldn't process all those things all at once. That happened, I guess, in the several hours that followed. It was kind of eerie in that I was leaving the American Century Championship in Tahoe, and I remember when I was in high school, 9/11 happened. And I was trying to piece things together by hearing people talk around the lockers. This was also like pre-smartphones and whatnot. Mm-hmm. And I remember picking up on certain things, and I thought people were talking about how Independence Day was airing on like Network Fox. It was a Sunday night movie, and I thought people were talking about that. And I started piecing together more of this information. It was kind of similar. I was leaving this golf course, and I heard people talking like President Trump was shot at. I was like, wait, what? So I X-search Trump shots fired, and I see this incredibly strong image of Donald Trump bleeding from the side of his face, holding a fist in the air with the American flag behind him, a really striking image. And I start finding out what happened. And, yeah, Stugotz, all the same questions. Like, if a former president is there, this has to be. The Secret Service is there. This is one of the more secure places on the planet, and you realize the shot came from outside the grounds, and you have all these questions, but it was a moment in time. I continued my walk. I got to the casino. Every TV had been either switched to news coverage or the news preempted what was going on.
All the big-time anchors were called in.
Wall-to-wall coverage on this really horrific act, and then the processing starts happening. You try to find out, is anybody injured? Did they capture this person? The world that we live in right now, you start seeing all the misinformation on social media, and you try to parse what's real, what isn't, and then you start processing. And my process was, I understand how we got here, and it makes me like really, really sad. In the last few years, we had what happened on January 6th. We had an armed assailant enter the home of the Pelosi's and try a politically motivated attack that severely injured Nancy Pelosi's husband.
There are things that we have seen recently, both over the weekend and the last 2 years, which I personally thought we'd never see in my lifetime.
Yeah, and now we have this crescendo over the weekend of an attempt on Donald Trump's life, and I think in the days that followed, what really struck me was how normal everything seemed to be afterwards. I thought that this would still be something that everybody is living with right now.
Well, what do you think was going to happen? Like, we were going to cancel sporting events, things were going to, like, what do you think was going to happen?
Yeah, because you could see, like, all the sporting events that happened that were on schedule that followed, and you start asking questions. Like, there's no way any of this would be happening if that bullet was a little bit closer to Donald Trump. And I was just really struck by how the world kept moving. And I want to hit pause on that because, no, the world should not keep moving. This is...
Well, Mike, hold on a second, because Trump kept moving.
Well, yeah, Trump...
I believe he played golf yesterday.
Yeah. Trump was pictured at the golf course, which, I mean, people can deal with an attack on their life however they want. One of your supporters is in the hospital. People can parse, like, what the optics are there. That's not... But I do want to talk about the general normalcy that everybody just kind of fell into. And no, we shouldn't be normal. There is a huge, very clear and obvious spike in politically motivated violence. Sometimes it plays out in hate crimes. Sometimes it may play out in hugely toxic rhetoric on your social media. And unfortunately, it's played out now with an assassination attempt on presently the leading candidate for president. And we should do everything in our power to put our foot down and say this should not be normal. This should not be reacted to in the way that it is. We need to, again, it's cliche, but use this as a moment to come together. And I'm a little scared that we're not. And
you're scared because Biden said we need to come together. Trump has said he has scrapped his entire speech for tonight. Republican National Convention, he has scrapped the entire speech. He will talk about unity and dialing it down a little bit and all of us coming together. You don't believe that, is what you're saying. Because you have every reason to be skeptical about that. You do.
I think that so far people are kind of meeting the moment, saying the right things, and sometimes not saying anything is the right thing, especially when you consider some of the track records here. But then I started processing, like, well, what is my role in this? Am I a contributing factor? Am I making the discourse worse? Am I, by calling out things that I see, contributing to a toxic rhetoric? Do I want to kind of publicly check out on all of this? All these questions start popping up. What does this mean for my family? What does this mean for November? Is this going to be worse? Is this the start of something? Because that was a fear that I had, which is also post-traumatic stress from 9/11. Because you start seeing things pop up on social media and you see all this increased security. And I really do hope that it looks like from a tragedy standpoint, we have the one loss of life. The former president is, as you mentioned, playing golf. Hopefully it all ends there and we can all just take the temperature down, dial it back, and realize that we are percolating at an insane place. And maybe, hopefully in retrospect, that's the crescendo and it doesn't get any worse after that. And I really hope the politicians involved take the opportunity to cool everything down, because that was something that doesn't happen here. And if I'm someone from another country...
Happened in the 80s, hasn't happened since Ronald Reagan.
Yeah, well, I was actually reminded of this on social media. Someone threw a grenade at President Bush and it didn't go off.
Right.
I was not aware of that. Yeah, I would say that... let's all take the opportunity to realize this needs to cool off. I'm really worried about our reaction to it, almost as much as I was made worried by the attempt. Now, let's talk about the attempt. We know some things about the shooter. Again, this is a very tricky time for misinformation on the internet, but this happened in a state where the shooter got this gun. He's not old enough to rent a car in this state, but he is old enough to procure an assault rifle and take an attempt on the former president's life. And
he can buy that rifle, walk through a field, get to within 160 yards, I guess, of the former president of the United States. He can do that, but he can't drive, he can't drink.
So if I'm saying things like this doesn't happen in our country, and I've seen the perspective of people from outside of our country, and they usually just turn and say, what are you talking about? Of course it happens in your country. look at the last few years, look at your record with gun violence and mass shootings. And that was another thing that I started to process after the initial shock of the attempt on the former president's life is people can't gather and celebrate a common tether anymore without the fear of this. That's supposed to be one of the more secure places on the planet, and gun violence is lapping up upon its shores.
It's because guns are so accessible, Mike, in the United States. So we know that. Like, we've been down this many, many times, and hopefully this will lead to a change in gun laws, but we know it won't.
It won't. It
Right.
won't.
Yeah.
There were, when Sandy Hook was allowed to happen, you realize that we were at the point of no return. This is an attempt on the former president's life. If there's any kind of eye-opening moment when it comes to gun laws, it would be that one. I don't think we're going to see that, but hopefully, again, the former president has been relatively quiet publicly. He's put a couple messages out on Truth Social, but this is an opportunity to do something good when it comes to gun violence. But I don't know how realistic that is. But there is some.
You'll find out tonight, right? Like
there is some good.
Donald Trump has first crack at kind of uniting the country, uniting the parties. They're never going to agree on everything, but at least they could dial down the temperature a little bit. And Donald Trump has first crack at that this evening.
It's a huge evening for America. I think COVID was another one of these opportunities that the former President Trump had in his past, where he had an opportunity to unify, and the discourse was such that we got just more extreme and more polarized. And I hope that does not happen in the next few days. And I think this is a huge moment in time, and Donald Trump's reaction to it is hugely important. And I hope, for the sake of everybody, we don't make things worse, because that was scary. And you want to lean on, hey, that's not our country. In the last few years, kind of has been. And now we have this assassination attempt, and hopefully it's in our rearview mirror and not something that's predictive for the road ahead. So it's a Dan Le Batard Show with Stugotz. We got Stugotz back. Dan will be back in tomorrow.
Shocked that he missed today. It's Open Championship week.
Yeah. For what it's worth, Jon Stewart isn't doing his show today. There are logistic issues for the Daily Show. So I know Dan wanted to be here, but I think with the travel coming back from Africa, that was too difficult to task. The plan was always for him to be in tomorrow. So he's going to be in tomorrow, and it's going to be business as usual. It takes a lot to outshine what happened over the weekend in terms of security breakdowns, and Copa America, its final.
They tried.
Hard Rock Stadium, man, they did their damnedest to be the least secure place in America this week. Chris, Cody, you were there. I was out there. Terrifying scene. Really scary images. Tons of people got roughed up. And let's get into why this happened, how it happened. Chris, you've been to several events at the stadium.
Besides Miami? I mean.
Well, you knew there was going to be a shit show aspect to this. Once the final was announced, Argentina, Colombia, I was trying to explain to people outside of South Florida what this was. I called it one of the biggest international soccer matches of all time.
You told me it was the biggest.
No, outside of the World Cup,
right?
You could make a real argument that was the biggest soccer match ever. And there were a lot of people, it's like, it's not even the biggest soccer match of the weekend. You got Spain versus England. Shut up. Get-in price was like triple what it was for Euro. I know this market. I know those teams. I know its support. I knew it was going to be something to experience. And thankfully, the MLS helped us out, and we were there for it. But driving up, you already knew it was going to be bad news. Chris, you go to events there a lot of times. I'm a Miami Hurricane season ticket holder. I was really concerned when I pulled up and I saw less uniformed personnel than I do for a Bethune-Cookman game establishing a perimeter.
But driving up is when you realize this could be a problem. I could have told you that a week ago.
Well, look, this is a venue, Stugotz, that kind of successfully and quietly has become one of the premier venues in all of entertainment.
Yep.
There aren't places that can host world-class tennis, Formula One, Super Bowls, WrestleManias, Taylor Swift's, college football playoffs, the way that this one has. And it's done all of that without any public scrutiny, without any high-profile incidents. It's always been well organized. And driving up, yeah, I could tell right away that something was different about their setup, and it was not going to be a good thing. Chris, did you have the same experience?
It was just an insane amount of people. The vibes were actually great until you got up to the stadium. Like in the parking lot, in the far parts of the parking lot, it was kind of normal. It seemed really crowded. And I was like, holy shit, everyone's got a ticket to this thing? And the parking lot was like, you can't get into the parking lot without a ticket. That rule was not followed.
No one had a ticket.
But, dude, when I tell you it was legitimately scary, every gate before, like at 7 when they were supposed to open, every gate, the four corners, and like the VIP entrances. When I'm telling you, tens of thousands of people pressed up against it as if they were like trying to, like, it was scary, dude. People banging on the glass. Like, I understood why they were like, we're not opening this. And like Mike said, there was no barrier. So it was one of those things where as soon as they opened the door, they got bum rushed. The employees at that point were probably told, don't fight it. Just like, what are you going to do at that point? I didn't even scan my ticket to get in because the entrance that I was at got bum rushed to the extent that I was sitting there with my ticket like, where do I scan this? And I just walked in because it was chaos. There was fights. I saw someone got like kicked in the face. I saw a guy with his kid and the kid's like sobbing, crying. It was legitimately horrifying for a good like 10-minute stretch getting in there.
So why was it that way? And I mentioned like the Bethune-Cookman perimeter that they established outside the stadium for Miami Hurricanes games. The Miami Hurricanes and the stadium operations people, they pay uniform personnel to be on the outside. CONMEBOL, for whatever reason, who's a governing body here in conjunction with CONCACAF, they take over lead when it comes to stadium ops. So pulling in, you don't have the uniform personnel outside establishing a perimeter, checking for parking vouchers to get into the stadium. To get into my parking lot, had to make a U-turn that was really not efficient at all, and I was left on my own on an island as a sea of people were moving from nearby places, being dropped off by Ubers. They were all on the street. So I'm getting waved at by stadium personnel who is now inside the gates, who usually is outside the gates, telling me to come in. And I'm asking how? How can I drive in there? There is right now, presently, as you're screaming at me, not doing it in a kind fashion, but I understand it's all crazy. There's presently 80 people around my car right now. You are telling me to drive through them without any uniformed personnel guiding the way to come meet you there. Fine. Now, I'm an outlier because they checked my parking ticket and to see if I actually had tickets. And I got in, and then I got to the ticket place where I actually enter. And this is the entrance. I went in the entrance that I do for Hurricanes games all the time. And I know exactly how that place got bum rushed because I went to the front of a line after waiting for 40 minutes for a suite entrance ticket. I go to a suite entrance, and someone tells me, that's not the entrance for this. I'm like, what are you talking about? That's always the entrance for this. They're like, well, that's always the entrance for other things. But today, the entrance is over there. And he points to a singular door with a singular metal detector with a line that is wrapped around the venue, and he tells me to go to that entrance. So you're having thousands, every single person with a club level ticket trying to squeeze into one door. Now in front of me, there are fights, there's pushing, there's shoving, and once you start having two people pushing and shoving, it's a domino effect. More people push and shove, they crack open a door, you're hot, you got your family, you start making a run for it. You start pushing against. The entrance that I walked in was that entrance that you've seen on social media that got totally destroyed, the 72 Club entrance. That's where I walked in. I can absolutely see how that happened. I don't want to excuse the behavior of the people there, but I also think it was a byproduct of the entire setup. I've been out there for Miami FSU. Those people for Miami FSU, way more sauced up before the actual event starts than these people. This got out of hand. This got violent. And it was all because it wasn't mitigated on the front end. People made this situation worse. And you have families trying to defend themselves. You have cops now coming in with a full head of steam, making things worse, really pushing things because they're not stadium ops people. They're trying to manage this entire situation, which has already crossed through the threshold into a very dangerous public security matter. And so they're going to meet that moment with the type of aggression that you're used to seeing from Miami PD. It was all really bad, really scary, really messy. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem like Hard Rock Stadium operations were allowed to do their usual job and had to take a back seat to a whole bunch of bureaucrats that don't know how to operate that stadium. And we saw how it played out with people actually going into AC vents, like
Dude,
Die Hard.
Going into AC vents, people sneaking into the 200 level, which is like the suite level. And at points, they had the doors shut with like something in it, blocking it. And people are like on the glass like, no, I have a ticket to be in there. And they're just like, nope, there's thousands of people out there. We're not letting you in. Just legitimately scary. At one point, I don't want to make light of this. At one point, I almost grabbed a kid and did my I have a child thing. It was that kind of chaos.
It did feel
I
like
have a
Titanic.
child.
Run through with a kid.
I have a child. Let me in.
It did feel
Great
like
shield.
Titanic. It absolutely did feel like Titanic.
What was the idea with the vents, right? We were playing the video on stream.
I don't know.
Were people going to get through, like, schematically through the stadium to, like, somewhere else? Is there, like, a place where you can, like, just hop out on the other side? Because what if you get in that vent,
Mission
dude?
Impossible.
You start climbing, you're like, oh, shit, I'm lost. Where do I go?
Mike and I were sitting in like our nice suite, and we were expecting like a head to like come
Sweet,
through
huh?
the air conditioning
Like,
vent. Like, up, this place is taken. All right, next.
Yeah, we were absolutely expecting people to crash through the top of the ceiling in our suite. Yeah, MLS hooked it up. We were in Club Live. And if we had that difficult of a time getting in, I can't imagine what people in the upper deck were experiencing. Again, I told you, the get-in price for this was 3 times as much as it was for the Euro Final. People had paid $3,000 and didn't even get their ticket scanned. Some people were just stuck outside.
Is there a chance that someone is stuck at a vent right now?
There is.
Wow.
There absolutely
Trying
is.
to call, doesn't have service. He's like, oh.
There's absolutely, like, I'm sure they're doing a thorough search, but yeah, absolutely.
You say that jokingly. I would bet that there's one fan still in that stadium.
I guarantee you there's a fan that's somewhere they shouldn't be right now.
Stuck, though.
Potentially.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But you'd leave the
Banging.
stadium if you weren't stuck.
At this point, you're banging, right? You're like, all right. I need
And
to
then
get out of here.
once you get inside the doors, you realize that where are all the people? It was the game's kicking off in 15 minutes. I know there's a ton of people here. I just walked through a sea of people. Where is everybody? You knew the game would be delayed in true, like, governing body soccer style.
They were in the vents.
There was a public announcement from some dude, I guess an official from CONMEBOL, with a bunch of cops behind him. And he was saying something that seemed important, but the sound wasn't working on the announcement, so I don't know. But I gathered that they were saying that because of what was going on outside, they were going to delay the game. The game got delayed about 75 minutes. I know a bunch of stories, and I know a bunch of people that tried to get to their seats. People were in their seats, and they had to handle it mano a mano, which is like, hey, get out of here or I'm going to have to get security. And you had a couple people calling bluff. Go find the security. Security has bigger fish to fry. They're not going to help you out here. So a bunch of people had tickets. They didn't actually watch the match from the seats that were assigned to them. It was real bad, real bad.
What time was the game supposed to start?
Supposed to start at 8.
And what time did it start?
9:22.
Did you guys have a time in mind where, like, hey, if it doesn't start by this time, it's a Sunday night, I got to work tomorrow. Did you have a time in mind where you're like, hey, I'm going to bail on this game?
I had that for if we didn't get let in. but we got let in like
Yeah.
around game time.
So you would have waited till 11 if you had to.
I was sitting like, if it's 9 o'clock and we're not even in the stadium yet, I'm leaving.
I had
kind of
a
thing.
I had a babysitter, and so I had to get back at a time. I also had a friend who had very nice seats that couldn't make it to their seats, and she was stuck outside, and I was worried about her because she was just by herself. So I wanted to make it out safely. I went to the bathroom and I saw several police officers in riot gear, and I was like, this could be bad. At that point, you wonder, like, depending on how this game ends, this could be a riot afterwards, and the police are dressed like they're expecting it to be. So I told Cynthia, let's leave at around like minute 80. And I take Cynthia, we go downstairs, the elevator doors open to the 72 Club. I see this disaster area, and I saw 200 Miami PD riot officers. It feels like an Armageddon type of movie. It was really scary. So that just made me want to get out of there more. And so I find my friend. I get swarmed by like 14 people trying to get a screen cap of my ticket so they can go inside. I'm like, read the room, pal. I get to the car. I drive through some barricades because I had heard that they closed off 27th Avenue, which seemed like a great idea at the time, let me tell you. I just got to the 95 exit, and I was
This
able.
is an action movie. I mean, you driving through barricades.
I had just watched Dante's Peak.
Right.
I'm working on a limited fake.
It's a good movie.
Limited fake Pierce Brosnan in Dante's Peak. You want to hear it?
Yeah, please.
Have to put the town on alert. What are you doing? You have to put the town on alert. He says that like 75 times in the first half hour. Of the
Why
movie.
are you working on this?
You have to put the town on alert.
But why?
Well, it actually came in handy because I got everybody in my Jeep and I started driving like Pierce Brosnan in Dante's Peak, putting the town on alert.
It's a good thing you worked it out beforehand. I mean,
Lucy, this would have been the best edition of off-roading ever. You really miss a golden opportunity here with Colombia, Argentina.
When we went to Michigan, Ohio State, the fans were like swarming us and they were not nice. And that was just Michigan fans. So I could not be happier that I was not there.
Well, it was a different shade of maize and blue. Probably as incoherent and angry as you've ever seen. Look, there were a lot of people that wanted to be a part of that atmosphere, that thought they just wanted to be around the grounds. They have that TV. It's actually set up for if you want to just tailgate and you have a ticket to do so. It's actually kind of a nice setup over there. We've seen with tennis and whatnot, totally different crowd. 3 times. Also, I heard from this is my own reporting, from stadium ops people that I know at Hard Rock Stadium. Company Ball also sold more tickets than they actually had. So that was a contributing factor as to why more people were there. But, this is an event town. You know that there was an expensive ticket. People were just going to want to be there around that atmosphere. And then people were like, well, shit, if everyone's going to make a run for it and some people are going to get in that stadium, why don't I? So it's a real mob mentality thing that spirals out of control. And thankfully, I went to bed as soon as that match ended, really afraid for what I was going to wake up to because I saw all those riot cops. I just thought, wow, Colombia's not going to take this loss well. And thankfully, nothing on social media afterwards. So kudos to law enforcement and stadium operations for salvaging what was a disaster and a huge black eye for a venue that is usually stellar in this department.
I feel like everyone at the end was just like, we've done enough.
Yeah.
Let's go home.
Well, this is so
really?
It was just kind of like,
Yeah,
I feel like
this
we've
is
caused
bad.
enough
It's been
chaos
a
for
day.
one night.
It's been
It's after midnight.
It's been a weekend.
Let's leave it
Yeah,
alone.
we're all just a little tired.
No one needs this in their life. Let's just go. International soccer matches, especially ones that have access to the secondary market. Keep in mind, a lot of these cup finals, there isn't a game time that you can go into in Europe. There is no such thing as a secondary market. I know that's hard to believe for club soccer. Like, if you want to see a Premier League game, you're risking a lot if you're going to try to go to the secondary market. It's just not an aspect of the ticket marketplace over there. So you never see what you saw, which is all these rival fans sitting together in their pockets. Yeah, you have some silos, but you have sky blue and white shirts next to yellow shirts, and you're hoping for a lot of harmony in a really emotional game.
A lot of yellow.
And it was a lot of yellow, but we could all see that. There were some people saying like, oh, this is Messi mania. I'm like, dude, you have no idea what Miami is.
I'll get to him in just a second, but you cannot allow people who don't have tickets into the stadium, into the parking lot to tailgate, to get all liquored up, because they're so close to a game that they want to go to. There's a good chance that some of them are going to try to get in illegally.
Well,
That's a terrible idea.
Exactly.
Seriously.
Stugotz, you're
Captain Hindsight. I mean,
I mean, they had a rule. No, you're not allowed in the parking lot without a ticket, but it was just hard to enforce it.
But Mike's saying there's a tailgating area. You're that close to a game that you really want to see. You're all liquored up. You've been drinking for 4 hours. Yeah, some people are going to get unruly. They're going to try to get into the stadium.
right, but you mitigate that by having a perimeter and you have different checkpoints that people will go through. So they're not all bottlenecking, and you don't have like one person there telling tens of thousands of people, no, you don't have a ticket. You have a ticket, come on through, because that's going to have a huge delay. You spread that out across all the entrances, which is what they do for friggin' Bethune-Cookman. And why they didn't have it there for the Copa America final, I don't know. I mean, I do know because CONMEBOL was in charge and CONCACAF was in charge, and they decided, no, we're the sheriff in town. You listen to us. To which I say, and I saw the mayor's statement on this, you're the cops. You don't say CONMEBOL was in charge. You're in charge. You're the cops. What are you doing? Why is no one throwing their hands up saying, that's a bad plan? We do this all the time. I'm sure it happened, but look, this is how you get the cup final. You bend at the knee. You bend the knee to CONMEBOL and CONCACAF, and you say, you're in charge. We'll do things your way, even though our way keeps everybody safe. Even though our way has a stellar record and is able to host World Cup tennis, World Cup matches. We'll see if that happens in 2026 now on the heels of this. But Formula One, you name it, this venue can do it. But here, with CONCACAF and CONMEBOL involved, that's when we're going to decide we're going to be a shit show. Real bad situation.
Not prepared. I mean,
real bad situation. Do you think soccer is dead still?
I do. I mean, you stay up until midnight. You get a single goal. You get Messi crying for no reason. I mean, just bawling on the sidelines. What is going on? I'm serious. It's like a soap opera soccer. I mean, half the game is watching guys riding around on the ground like they're in some sort of pain that they'll never, ever get rid of for the remainder of their life. And then they're up 3 minutes later, and they're fine, and they're running around the pitch.
Guys, can we
It's
put
a
up
dumb
that?
game.
Can we put up the ankle picture, please?
Yeah.
Can we, let's Stugotz.
Stugotz said Messi was crying for no reason. Stugotz,
Look at that ankle.
look at the size of that
It's swollen.
ankle.
I get it. Yeah. He was fine. I mean, he heard it in the first half. He got up 2 minutes later. He's flying around the field. He's doing whatever it is that Messi does, not scoring goals. And he's crying. Mike, I can't get into the game. I tried to watch it last night. I did. You told me it was the biggest non-World Cup soccer game in the history of soccer. I would argue, I would say some of those, New York Arrows games, Shep Messing, Steve Jungle, they were probably bigger.
Okay, that's club soccer. Totally different conversation. In the
Okay.
history of international soccer, this is probably the biggest non-World Cup match of my lifetime.
But I try to get into it. It's delayed 90 minutes. The game finally starts. Guys are falling all over the field. They're faking injuries. And you get a single
Faking.
goal. It's midnight. I mean, it's
Faking
enough.
injuries, diving all over the place. That's not a faked
I
injury.
don't like the sport. I don't know what to tell you.
That's totally fine.
Yeah, I tried. I tried for you. I did. And there were 2 games yesterday. You had Spain and England. That was 2-1, I think.
That was a
Spain
good
won.
game.
Right. What does it mean? I mean,
They're European champions.
so does Spain now play Colombia or
Spain is
Argentina?
Well, actually,
They should do that.
Well,
That'd
they-
be cool.
Thank
they-
you. I'm going to fix soccer now.
They actually do. Next summer, they'll play like a final, I think, where they take the UEFA champion against a CONMEBOL champion, and they have a really funny name attached to it, and they play for a trophy. But what happens next
Who's going to
is
care in a year? I mean,
what happens next is there's another Euro in 4 years, and someone will be named European champion in 4 years. But in 2 years is a World Cup. That has nothing to do with what we saw over the weekend. It's just each qualifying region has a championship. They essentially have a World Cup just for their continents. And that's what happened there.
So which one would you rather win? Like what's considered
The
the
World
better
Cup.
league?
The World Cup.
No,
is
no,
the
no. I'm
greatest.
talking about like last night's game or England and Spain.
Which one's more impressive? UEFA. I mean, if you look at FIFA rankings, look, they're both really hard to win. The world champion presently resides in South America, and entering that match last night, Colombia had the longest undefeated streak in international soccer. A really interesting team, Colombia, because James, I think he won player of the tournament. James, who everyone would consider a superstar, on the club side, really bizarre career. Often injured, a journeyman, not playing well for much of the last 10 years on the club side. But on the international stage, he is so much better. He is every bit the superstar that he flashed in Brazil at the World Cup. He's incredible. It's a real huge gulf between who he is on the international stage and who he is on the club stage. And it was high drama, high theater. Colombia, I would essentially describe their talent, and people may dismiss me for this. I know the clubs that these players play for. That is a ragtag group. When James is your talisman, when James is your solid number, your number one name atop the team sheet, you're in a dire talent situation in your qualifying region, and they put together the longest undefeated streak entering last night. So an incredible game, tragic in some respects. I also saw children in the arms of their parents crying. It's hot. It becomes like survival mode out there. I can see how that spirals out of hand. Like the people had their hand in it. Law enforcement had their hand in it. Government bodies had their hand in it. Huge failure from the stadium ops people that told me they knew better. They straight up said, yeah, that's the entrance usually. But for this, it's over there. You're having someone tell you that with a straight face, knowing how dangerous that situation's going to be. It's no wonder that escalator on that side got totally destroyed.
Got to slip that guy at 20, by the way.
You have
Hey,
to.
buddy, come on.
I tried that move.
Come on.
Although on a night like that, it might be a C note.
Yeah, C note, but I mean, come on.
I
I'm
saw
getting in
Mike.
the store.
I saw Mike McDaniel walk up and get in. I'm like, I'm gonna go over there.
Yeah, that guy probably.
His office, though. I mean,
that guy probably has it figured out. He knows all the great vents to crawl into.
That's what
here.
the guy in the vent is, Mike McDaniel's office.
Dude, you're saying
Suspended over.
Look, can we show the video again of the people climbing into the vents? There is definitely somebody inside the air conditioning system.
You
at
make a
Hard Rock
wrong
Stadium.
turn. I mean, you're going for a mile inside an AC
lost.
vent. Where
Yeah.
do I get out?
I saw some guy just totally ditch his wife or girlfriend because she couldn't get up the canopy. It was just like he tried to like lift her, she fell back down, and then he was
He
just
kept
like,
going?
"Sorry, honey. See you on the backside."
Yeah.
his ex-wife.
Well, mob mentality is a very real thing. We see it spiral all the time with riots where you're like, well, this person's got to do it. And then you get altitude. There's a 30 for 30 on the Vancouver riots when Vancouver lost the Stanley Cup. And everyone's just like, I don't really know how that got out of hand. It's like that escalated quickly. It's the Anchorman meme. But
Never against Bethune, though.
never against Bethune. It's
Keep saying
crazy.
that. Starting today, I can run to a national title with Bethune-Cookman.
Yeah.
On the
Oh.
video game.
Today,
Still run the
look,
triple option over with Bethune or no?
shout out to the world. Shout out to the world for somehow making a 10-year wait feel extra long as we approach the finish line here. Because today is the day for a lot of young men and women of a certain age. They're going to find out that they have a hell of a lot less time to play this game than they used to. And I am ready for that culture shock. But Stugotz, I have braced Cynthia for this moment for 10 years. I have. You saw me out in Tahoe.
Yes.
We weren't working Tahoe. Tahoe was an anniversary trip.
Yep.
My anniversary isn't for another 2 weeks. But I strategized.
did.
And I came up with a pathway. I was getting no more trips. I'm not going anywhere. My next trip is Gainesville for week 1 against Florida.
Big.
My
the
summer
swamp?
my summer is clear. And it's clear for college football 25. You're not a part of this sensation.
I have
your
2
first-
more trips to the Sphere.
I mean,
What are you talking about?
what's your first season road schedule like? I mean, you do have some trips planned.
I do. Yeah, well, we'll see
Vegas.
we'll see what kind of neutral site games I can negotiate with Georgia Tech at the Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Seems like a great week 0 opponent for my Nevada Wolfpack that is now going to be perennial national champions.
We will get to weekend observations tomorrow. Dan will be back tomorrow. I will tell you, Mike, that I have an assortment of top fives that I have collected over 2 weeks that if we don't get to any of them today, they will all be done during an hour-long weekend observations tomorrow because there are observations from the last 2 weeks of everything that happened in sports and what happened to us at Lake Tahoe. But before we get to that, so if you want to go to those at any point, feel free.
Well,
okay?
it does
An
feel
assortment of top fives. Athletes that connote a lake, athletes that connote something you would find in a lake. I've got them all.
Well, it does feel like you've been gone for a while. I know you've swung in here and there for a quick pit stop, but it does feel like you've been a part of the Grateful Dead for the last 2.5 months.
I have a residency at the Sphere.
Yeah, you've been following, dude. Every show, I know every show is a unique experience, but you've been to like 90% of these Sphere shows.
I went to the first weekend, 2/3 of the first weekend. I went to Friday and Saturday. So I went to 2 of the first 3 shows. Then I went to an entire weekend on the front end of my vacation time. So that's 5 shows right there. And then because we were in Lake Tahoe, not working, but we were there enjoying it because we love that event, I went to another one because I was a quick hop away from Vegas.
It's a 12-hour drive. It's not
It's like a plane. I mean,
it's not
You're going to be the first person sick of the Sphere. You're just going to be like,
No,
yeah, I'm over this.
No, I'll never get tired of that place.
I mean, very clear. If he's following that band, and to say, look, I've tried. I know that there's a whole thing that I can do to make me enjoy it more. I find jam bands, and you may find that as dismissive. No disrespect. It's just not for me. I find jam bands laborious.
Right.
But
you love the Sphere.
I love the Sphere.
Yes.
But I think even then I'd say, okay, kind of saw it. I'm already there with like Lake Tahoe. I'm all right. I've done this enough.
Really?
And Lake Tahoe is as jaw-droppingly beautiful a place on the planet as anybody. How many shows for Dead & Company were there at the Sphere?
Well, they did, 7 weekends, 3 per weekend, so 21. I went to, I think, maybe 24. I went to 6 of them.
Only?
I went to a weekend of 3, a weekend of 2, and this weekend I went to 1.
Because it does feel like, correct me if I'm wrong, it feels like Stugotz has been gone for a really long time. I think he popped in real quick for like Game 4 of the Stanley Cup Finals and then deuced.
I did. So I spent but I had only, at the time my vacation started, I had only been to 2 shows at the Sphere. During vacation, I went to 4 shows at the Sphere.
You work very hard. You're entitled to vacation, but you've been gone a while, yeah?
I've been gone for 2 weeks, yeah.
Feels
Dan's been gone for 2 weeks.
No.
I mean, I'm sitting here on a Monday. Where's he?
For whatever reason, it
Open
feels
Championship week.
It feels like
you,
2 months.
You were doing like 1 show per week for about the 6 weeks before that.
That's
is
what
it
was
felt
going
like.
on.
A lot of lacrosse mitzvahs.
I'll be off Wednesday.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
So it stands to reason why you'd have an hour-long edition of Weekend Observations coming around the corner.
Yes.
Did you get to see any of the, I saw you for 2 days and then you dipped. You weren't out there the entire weekend in Tahoe, right?
No, I went to Dead & Company.
Yeah.
Sphere.
I mentioned it. It was my anniversary, and the reason why I'm confused is I didn't really want to see Stugotz out there.
Right, I know. Sorry.
And
here's what I didn't want to hear out there, okay? Because I traveled all the way to Lake Tahoe to not hear about Greg Berhalter. And the first time I see Mike Ryan, what is he doing? Talking about Greg Berhalter with Taylor Twellman. I mean, by the way, that guy can golf. And he can dress. He is a handsome devil. But I traveled to Lake Tahoe to get away from Berhalter, and the first thing I'm engaged in with Mike is a conversation about Berhalter.
It's been happening to me a lot. A lot of people have come up to me.
It's not your fault, though.
No, it's not. I don't want to talk about Greg Berhalter. You think I would much rather privately revel in the fact that Greg Berhalter is out of my life than someone come up to me and remind me that Greg Berhalter was in my life for 5 years. When I went to Chicago for the NASCAR street race, first time in my career I'd ever been recognized for a take. Someone clearly, they stopped me at Grant Park. They're like, I know you from somewhere. Where is it? I'm like, well, the Dan Le Batard Show. That's not it. And he was snapping the fingers. He's like, Berhalter guy. So I'm I guess that take got
It's your new
traction.
nickname. That's a sad superhero.
Yeah, so the last thing I wanted was just to talk about Greg Berhalter in that moment. But yeah, Stugotz, he does tend to just saddle up and he sees me there with Taylor.
I got to tell you,
Twellman,
I
and we're
felt
talking
it.
about
I felt
Burr
that you were on your, you and Cynthia were enjoying
Was
yourselves.
this at the welcome party?
Yeah.
How was that thing?
Yeah, the
How
food
was
truck
it?
party.
No, no. I mean, before.
Oh,
like
I went
the
to.
little-
Mike wasn't at the welcome party. I went to the
Yeah,
welcome
of course
party.
you did.
Oh, it was fantastic. It was great.
Yeah.
Was Ray there?
I mean, I was cutting it up with Doug Peterson. Ray was there. Yeah.
I don't know why Stugotz was at this welcome party. Stugotz usually
I
is
was
like.
showing my support for the event.
Stugotz definitely weaseled his way into this players-only meeting because at least before he would take part in the celebrity pro-am that's
Right.
on Thursday, or he's out there working in and he's going to be on the driving range, so he's establishing like, hey, we'll talk to you on Friday and whatnot. There was no reason for Stugotz to be in this players-only meeting on Thursday, on Wednesday. I have no idea how he got in that building. Well, I know, but he shouldn't have been in of all days. I wasn't there because I realized, why the F would I be there? Leave these guys alone.
Stu went through the vents.
I did.
Was the magician there?
No. Thankfully.
What magician this year?
Oh, the magician's
No
terrible,
JT?
Let's be honest.
Dude, there was
Not
a
the
pretty
time for him, I don't think.
I got to tell you, the numbers, I have found my fifth major, and it's this tournament. I love it so much, in part because we're always rooting for Marty Fish, who has become a friend of ours, and he won it yesterday, and I was excited for him, and I texted with him after his round was over. But I just love being out there. I love the event. It's the golf tournament that I pay the most attention to outside of the four majors of the PGA. I just love it out there. And the attendance keeps growing. Mike, you noticed
Yeah.
it was packed.
It was a little different without Mahomes and Steph Curry there this year. It was super packed, but usually you have a huge gallery following.
They were with the Kelseys this year?
Yeah,
the
it was with Travis.
I got to tell you, the Kelseys, I have never seen anything like this. I'm being serious in sports, where an offensive lineman, a center, because Travis did not arrive until the night before. Jason was there for the entire week. And I am telling you, after a practice round, Jason is perched like on a little boulder, okay, right by the driving range. And there are thousands of people surrounding Jason Kelce wanting a center's autograph, a picture with Jason Kelce. And then Travis Kelce commands so much attention these days that they couldn't figure out how to get him into the facility.
It's an absolute sensation.
It was
Jason
crazy.
Kelce was the second most famous person there in terms of chirping from the gallery.
That's how it's going to happen when you're in the Taylor Swift orbit.
Absolutely.
These two people in Jason and Travis Kelce, who already were ultra famous within their sport, get to catapult to a level of celebrity that not even the celebrities who aren't known for sports have at this event.
So you've been to this event. You know that traditionally it is owned. The event, in terms of fun and entertainment, it is owned by Mahomes and Travis Kelce.
And Justin Timberlake.
And Timberlake. I am telling you, in 2 years' time, Jason Kelce will own that event.
Yeah.
If he doesn't already, he will own the event. You guys will love this because I go up to Kelce, and he's signing everything.
Which one?
Jason. Okay. Travis isn't there yet. This is after a practice round. And he is signing everything. And he's taking pictures, and he's shaking hands, and he's kissing babies. He's doing the whole thing for thousands of people. And I said, Jason, as he's doing it, I walked up to him. I said, listen, you need to learn a word. Mix it into your vocabulary. It's called no. 30 minutes later, I send him a text asking him to join me on the show.
Did he say no?
He said yes.
You're the best.
Yeah. It's still his brand of superstardom is still pretty cool to experience because him and Travis are really reveling in it and super accepting of it, and it's great to see someone. Charles Barkley is really good at this. He knows how important it is for someone to meet and have an experience with Charles Barkley, and he wants everyone to come away with a good experience. And the Kelseys are kind of the same way.
Yes.
I also feel the same way that Stugotz does. I also randomly treat the American Century Championship like it's like the fifth major. We do drafts on it, and we follow Marty.
Matt Ryan, good pick.
Yeah, my wife. I love celebrity golf because I don't need to have this golfer explain to me. I'm already invested. Let's go. Competition format is a great reality show for me. So my wife and I, we follow Thielen, Jake Owen, and Marty Fish for day one. Mm-hmm. That was like an incredible trio. From a golf perspective, those guys put up, I think, they were all in the top 10. They were all in the top 10 in terms of scoring.
So Cynthia's probably like, wow, these guys are pretty good at golf.
These guys can play.
Right. I had redemption, by the way, with Jake Owen. I got it right.
Yeah.
He hugged me.
Really?
That's great.
Now he was on the driving range,
Congratulations.
and it said Jake Owen.
Very helpfully. He's also cut his hair, but also Aaron cut his hair.
Yes.
So it's a little confusing.
Do you do the joke? Hey,
It's
Aaron.
not confusing. They don't look alike.
No,
I
it's not at all.
I didn't do the joke, but I did spend my entire time following Aaron around saying, hey, watch it. Like, the guy's jumping for footballs. He's doing this. He's doing that. There was a time where he almost ran over Jake Golick's kid. And I'm like, Aaron, watch where you're going. I didn't care about Golick's kid. I cared about Aaron not getting hurt.
I saw him do like a little Euro step around someone's mark on the green. I'm like, be careful with that ankle, dude.
Thank you. Yes.
Did you have, you had...
Yeah, he was fine with me.
Yeah, you were good?
It's just you that he doesn't like, and Dan.
Yeah. Okay, that's good.
Yeah. He and I are good.
Or
Tight.
you just don't care. I think that's also like you just...
Oh, no, I care. There are certain things that he has said over the last couple of years that have rubbed me the wrong way. No question about it.
But I'm never going to in person say anything.
But in
negative.
person, I'm never going to say anything to him or Jake Owen.
He's my quarterback.
Yeah. So Cynthia was following, this was her first time at Lake Tahoe, and she was following that trio. And the very next day, we decided to follow Matthew Tkachuk around for a little bit. And then she realized how hard golf is because she stopped following Marty Fish. She goes from like seeing like a dude on pace to set the course record to actively trying to find Matthew Tkachuk's third shot on 18, which was totally never found. Just it disappeared. It went into the water somewhere. Who knows what became of it? She was shocked at how good Marty is compared to like the rest of the field.
I told Marty I'm taking 25% credit for his victory. We had a little pre-round speech before the first round. I said what I had to say, and he went out and won the thing. So, I mean, I said 25%. Marty said that's a bit too much. Your speech did motivate me. It's a bit too much. He dialed it back to 20. I'll meet him halfway, 22.5%.
I'm picturing you just saying, hit him straight, buddy.
I said you're the best golfer out here by a lot. Go win the bleeping thing. That's what I told him.
Not by a lot. Pavelski's pretty good.
That he's a problem.
Yeah.
He's always lurking.
If you watch the American Century on TV, it's like the same broadcast over and over again every year of them just being like, this Marty guy, he's not just good, he's really good. And Adam Thielen, he's got a bit of that too. John Smoltz, Mark Mulder, good golfers.
Yeah, really good golfers.
It's like the same broadcast just re-aired.
So it's modified Stableford scoring out there, so like the plus points are good. So A-Rod,
as long as you don't double bogey, you're good.
A-Rod, you get -2 for a double bogey.
0 for a bogey, 1 for a par, negative something for
A-Rod got a -32 day one.
He did.
I saw a video of
Playing
him
lights
hitting
out,
one
huh?
where it like hit something and like went back at him. It was just it's good to see those kind of guys be normal.
He's my new best friend, A-Rod, and Mike had an awkward moment with him.
Oh, that's right.
Can't be worse than our like Nick Jonas, Justin Timberlake. Hey, pa.
Oh yeah, let's find that. Let's find up like the hits of the previous years. No, it wasn't my awkward moment. I shared it, but it was Cynthia's awkward moment with A-Rod. She did something terrible. We'll talk to you about it next.
So, Chris, we're at the food truck party after the players' meeting. Tahoe, I know you love that.
Anyone sad sitting alone like Brian Kelly was a few years ago?
No. Did you see anyone sitting alone, sadly?
No, I think most of the people that don't want to be there, they pop in because they have to make an appearance, and then they quietly just make their way out.
Yeah.
But there are a couple people there that I was hoping for an interaction with Matthew Tkachuk because my wife was there and she would have been excited, but she's pretty chill about that stuff.
Right.
She doesn't generally like to approach people.
Sure. Yeah.
And so we had a nice Miz was really happy to see me. I guess anytime he's around a golfer that's worse than he is, he's pretty happy to see them.
So the Kelseys were playing the first round with Miz, and I said, hey, enjoy your 9-hour round of golf.
Hey, he's improved as a golfer, but he still takes like a really long time to play.
Yeah.
But he's a super nice guy.
You're going to be bad fast.
I guess if there was a Brian Kelly at the food truck party, it was me.
Boy, you are really inflating your persona.
I was walking around by myself. I felt like Mike and Cynthia wanted nothing to do with me.
We didn't.
I felt it. But here's what happened, Chris. So after Mike is done with the awkward Berhalter conversation with Taylor Twellman, somehow I have moseyed over to A-Rod, and I am talking to A-Rod. And A-Rod is taking great interest in me. And I am loving this conversation. We're talking. And then
Pause.
Yes.
Talking. This was not an actual conversation from human beings. This was like
Hey, buddy, A-Rod. That's talking to me.
Couple dudes trying to out-phony the other one with like
insincere. Cutting it up.
So A-Rod puts his arm around Stugotz.
Big fan of what you guys do.
Big fan. I haven't gotten feedback off of anything I've done greater than I did with that South Beach sessions with Dan, and like it's just lots of laughs, lots of leaning over, lots of touching the shoulder. I know Schwarmy when I see it, and those dudes were putting on a display.
Yeah, but I'm feeling good because I'm there with nobody, okay? Mike is there with his wife, and I feel like I have found my partner, okay? And it's A-Rod. And I'm going to hang with A-Rod the entire weekend. But then Mike moseys over with Cynthia, and it gets really awkward.
Really awkward.
Did you guys plan this? Before we tell the audience what it is, and the guys here, and Lucy, what it is that actually happened, did you guys plan this out?
So we saw you talking over there. This was right at the entrance. And again, like our plan is to get away from Stugotz and enjoy
I know the
evening.
move, though. If you see someone talking to someone cool, though, it's like, oh, let's
well,
go stand by
you
Stugotz
have
now.
like, well, it's Stugotz there. And so we have the easy way. And so my wife used to be related to A-Rod.
So she said that?
No.
That's a bad start. Yeah,
It'd be fine. No, I'll tell you how she started it, which is the worst way you can start a conversation ever. And yeah, I said that Stugotz and A-Rod were a couple of phonies cutting it up. I actually think Alex is nice. I understand people have
love him.
They have their thoughts and feelings. Like I don't. If the worst thing that you could say about a guy is that he's nice to me all the time, and I don't believe it, who cares? Like he's nice. So Cynthia used to be related to Alex in that her godmother, her first cousin, also named Cynthia. They look alike. She was married to Alex. That was Alex's first wife. They have two beautiful children together that are a part of our lives. We love those kids. So we see them all the time. So naturally, we have a family tie. And so Cynthia, if there's any opportunity to say hello to she stayed at Alex's penthouse in New York. Like if she went to the wedding, she was a part of the family. So if there's ever an opportunity, this is the one while he's talking to Stugotz, because Stugotz has properly opened this setup.
Mm-hmm.
But how do you say it without making it awkward is the question.
I put my hand on her shoulder. Stugotz had introduced me.
Yes.
Hey, this is a producer of our show, and that's a great vine. Thank you. I'm going to set the table for Cynthia. Cynthia cuts through. I don't know if she had nervous energy, and just goes directly to Alex and says, hey, do you remember me? You don't do that.
My weekend with A-Rob was over.
My dad can come up to me and say, hey, do you remember me? And I might get like frozen for a bit. No, how do I answer this? Hey, do you remember me? He hasn't seen Cynthia outside of like a funeral like in like 8 years.
Hey, you remember me? I used to be your family.
He had a couple of guesses, I think, that were wrong. Did he not?
No, he's like, he answered it the way that you should. It's like, I'm not so sure, because even the worst possible thing that you could say is like, yeah, and try to take stabs at guessing who the person is. You could see that there was like something there, but he didn't want to actually like start playing the guessing game.
He's like, good to see you.
It was
that
just
move of just like, I'm going to say good to see you.
He should have hit her with prima.
No, and then she goes, and then she goes, Cynthia Mekris. And so he's like stunned by the whole thing, and you could see him like
Stunned.
Yeah, you could see him
Trying to put it
trying
together.
to figure it out. Cynthia Mekris, and then his response was Cynthia, and he put his hand out like he first met Cynthia when she was 5. I'm like, Cynthia has not grown. You know, she was
dad
the
does
same
that-
height when she met you.
My dad does that with women my age. He's like, little Tina? It's like, Tina's 38 years old.
It's
Same
like-
height, though.
He goes, Cynthia? Like he saw her in grade school or something. He's like, and then he said, yeah, we used to be, it's weird. We were kind of related, still kind of are, but I could not get out of there faster.
It went from me introducing A-Rod to Mike to Mike never having any interaction, Cynthia just stepping in. Do you know who I am?
Go to the kids first, maybe. You start saying the names.
It got
We
frosty.
love-
I was trying, but Cynthia trampled me. I don't know. I still have to like talk to her. Like, what happened there? Like, what was your?
Wait, you haven't spoken to her yet?
I don't want to relive it.
I figured you spent the entire weekend
I am
discussing
mortified on your behalf.
It was so bad.
That's as bad as it can possibly go in an introduction, because now his mind is just racing as to how he possibly knows this person. You guys already know him. He was on South Beach Sessions in his mind like 3 minutes ago, and now he's trying to figure out who Cynthia is.
I could
So
not.
awkward.
I could not get out of there faster, and I like had this like frozen in fear kind of smile, like as I turned the corner, and like I take a few steps because now I have to talk to Cynthia about what just happened, but also I have to mansplain. The toxic the toxic urge to mansplain what happened there through the eyes of a man, and I told Cynthia like, you can never do that to somebody, especially like a celebrity. You can't lead with, hey, do you remember me? You can never do that. She conceded that was probably not the best foot to get off on.
Was she upset that it took him a minute? Like,
No, she understood it afterwards.
When you
She's
go in
like,
with that question, you're expecting the person to know who you are.
I asked her, like, why'd you do that? She's like, I don't know. I don't know why I did it that way.
Very aggressive.
It was and she said it with some sass, too.
I know.
And look, there's family dynamics at
Like,
play.
you better know who I am.
Divorce can be ugly, especially when it plays out in the tabloids. You can understand my wife has her certain feelings about things but we've made it work, and credit to Alex and Big Cynthia, that's what we call her. Like, they have made it work, and they've raised 2 beautiful children together. Beautiful, wonderful, upstanding girls. We love them. And it's really not that tense and awkward around the family. I'm not sure why she made it so tense and awkward in that moment, her first time seeing Alex in about 8 years. But yeah, it was really awkward, and I avoided Alex Rodriguez at all costs afterwards. But thank you for always being nice to me, even if you don't mean it. Like, I appreciate it. Again, like, the worst thing someone can say about you is that you're nice all the time. I think that's fine.
Are you guys good with someone being nice to you, saying nice things to you all the time, having no idea whether or not he or she means it?
Are you guys confused by that message coming from Stugotz?
I'm just wondering.
He's just checking to know whether or not we're offended by him.
Exactly right. Yes.
So you're asking if
No, I'm good
we're
with it.
upset if somebody only says good things about us or good things to us?
They're always nice to you. They always say good things to you, but they have the personality of A-Rod, and you're not certain if what they're saying is true. But they're just being nice, and you'll take it because it's someone being nice to you. I mean,
there's no genuine connection there. Like, it's all a facade, and I do think that people would get hurt by it. Jeremy, do you have that social experiment piece together?
Yes, I do.
Yeah. All right. So let's. This is a great
Perfect time.
This is a perfect time to trot this out. Jeremy has built out a game.
Yeah, this is going to be called MLB All-Star or Meadowlark Media Employee. So I'm going to read a name, and Stugotz, you are going to tell me whether this person is a Meadowlark Media employee or an MLB All-Star.
huh.
We're going to start here.
He's already scared.
Does he have to guess the team? He should
No,
have to
you
guess
don't have
the
to.
team.
Yeah, you want to guess the team? We want to add that as part of it?
Yeah.
MLB,
Well, you're exposing him on multiple fronts
that's
here.
too much. Let's just say you got to tell me if it's a Meadowlark Media employee or an
All
MLB
right.
All-Star. So we'll start here. Chris Tuminello.
Love to me. Meadowlark Media employee.
Really? That sounds like a middle reliever for the Kansas City Royals.
That is a Meadowlark Media employee.
Thank
Congratulations,
you. I know
Stugotz.
my employees. How about that?
Do you know what he?
Alex-
Hold on. Do you know what he does?
To
Oh,
me?
come on. What are you doing?
To me?
No. All right. Fair enough. He
If
got
he
the
does
right
that, he's
answer.
got to name the team.
I mean, he's got a 50-50 chance.
He's got a 50-50 shot here. Alex Nobrega.
Nobrega. Alex Nobrega. Alex. I know there's an Alex that works here. I'm going to say Meadowlark employee.
All right, 2 for 2.
Whoa!
Wow, guys on a heater.
I think he did something with our sets. Let's do something. I don't know. Maybe? No?
You know what? Don't talk anymore. You got it
Okay,
right. Just
2 for
keep
2.
it moving. 2
All
for
right.
2.
Okay.
Tommy Darrow.
Tommy. Last name?
Darrow.
Tommy Darrow.
My favorite part about that was the audible O from Chris Cody as a bet.
Wasn't expecting the game to be this
Too much
long.
time to stall. He's trying to figure it out in his head.
Tommy Darrow.
Tommy Darrow is a Major League Baseball All-Star.
That is incorrect.
It's not the loser game show. So.
That's Thomas.
I've seen your
Sorry, Tommy D.
I've seen your interactions with Thomas Darrow.
Have you? Oh, he's in this office.
Yeah, he's based out of here now. I call him Big Show.
Oh,
It looks
Tom.
like the Big Show.
Oh, Tom. I didn't know his last name was Darrow.
You did
All right.
you did do something there by
Tommy
making it
D.
Tommy
Making it
Darrow.
Tommy.
Tommy D.
Mason Miller.
Mason Miller. Mace. I'm going to say eventually there's got to be a Major League Baseball All-Star here.
You're just playing a numbers game at this point.
I am playing
You've given up on
percentages.
actually having human relations with whoever this Mason Miller is. You're just guessing and
I'm
playing
gonna say-
numbers.
Yeah, I am. Eventually we'll get to one, right? All-Star.
All-Star.
Thank you.
Mason Miller.
Boom.
Oakland A's closer.
I just know him as M. Miller from Fantasy.
M. Miller.
Yeah,
3 for 4.
that makes you an
Ethan-
all-star.
Ethan Badowski.
Ethan Badowski works here.
Wow.
know
The
Ethan.
confidence. Congratulations, Ethan.
I know
Stu
he
knows
did.
you.
Yes.
Daniel Gonzalez Quevedo.
This Darrow's going to sit with me for a bit. Sorry, Thomas. Give me the name again.
Daniel Gonzalez Quevedo.
DGK.
Yeah, DGK.
Wait, can you say the name again?
Daniel Gonzalez Quevedo.
Oh yeah, that's definitely a K.
Yeah, DGK. Stu?
Did you grow up around any Latin people?
I did. Luis Guzman, Michael Gomez.
You got a guess?
I need to hear it again.
Daniel Gonzalez Quevedo.
All-Star.
He is an all-star. Let me be frank. He is
Danny
an all-star.
GK.
Yeah, he's an all-star for
There
us.
he is.
A Meadowlark All-Star.
Danny
That's what I meant.
GQ.
Danny GQ.
And that's
GK
him.
forever.
Everyone calls him
Danny, sorry, I love you, dude. Love
Dan-
you. I love you.
GK.
I've never heard your last name, your middle name, whatever the name was. I never heard it. DKG.
But you were great at your job. Thank you for all the work that you do.
Yep, appreciate you.
Patrick Kim.
Oh, Pat Kim.
Patty Kim. Like, you're just going through the variations of the name to see if you have any recollection saying it in an awkward interaction.
Yes.
Patty Kim.
Pat Kim.
Pat Kim.
All-Star.
Nope.
I don't think Chris Cody knows who Pat
There's
Kim
been
is.
a couple that Chris has turned around and been like, hey, what's the answer so I know what sound
There's
to
a
play?
New York office. It's a little unfair.
It does make it unfair.
And Stugotz has been on vacation for 3 months.
Well, this one
Thank
should be
you.
easy
Sphere,
for you.
I mean.
This one should be easy. Jordan Westberg.
Jordan Westberg.
Can you use it in a sentence?
Please.
Stugotz does not know who Jordan Westberg is.
All-Star.
All-star.
It was just numbers at that point. My dude was trying to
He's
survive.
guessed All-Star like 6 times in a row.
Yeah.
Well,
He was at the Hard Rock Stadium gates just trying
And the
to get
last
in at
one
that
for
point.
you, Mike Malley.
employee.
Wow. All right, Stugotz.
Love Mike Malley.
That would-
Only 3 wrong out of the 8 names that we said.
He did
That's
pretty well.
better than anticipated.
He did way better than I thought he
If
would.
you just said Danny without the KG part of it, I would have been like
KG.
employee. Yeah.
Yeah, KG.
Danny
I know
KG.
Danny. There's a lot of Danny's here. I just would have said
Danny
employee.
GQ is
Yeah.
now Danny KG.
Whatever,
I love it.
you know.
Well, congratulations, Stu.
Thank you.
Good job. It's MLB
All-Star
All-Star Week, right?
Yeah, right now.
It used to
Home
ma-
Run Derby tonight.
That's tonight?
Yeah, home run
They're
derby's
still doing
tonight.
that. What's the
No
format
way.
this year?
I'm tired of that.
It's changed again. You won't know until you log on to the broadcast because they're constantly changing the rules. But there are 3 players from the NL East in this year's home run derby.
Well, there you go. If you're looking for a draw,
Marlins fans get real excited.
What, Peter Alonso?
Pete Alonso's one of
Tired
them.
of him, the polar bear.
the polar
A
bear.
guy would rather win the home run derby than win a World Series. I'm telling you, that's what he's known for.
you do
the
kind of
derby.
live forever. Josh Hamilton was a really great player
man.
in his day, and everyone, the first thing that they'll mention to him is probably that home run derby at Yankee Stadium.
It was electric, and he didn't even win.
Yeah,
I was
Like,
at that. I was at that one randomly.
That's a
In New
great
York,
event.
Josh
What?
Hamilton,
Are you
yep.
kidding me?
Yep.
That is a hell of a cocktail hour.
And then
opener.
the next night, I went to the game, the All-Star game, sat in the outfield right behind Rob Parker.
Really?
Fun fact.
the Rob Parker.
Rob Parker, because this was like at the peak
first
of like
take?
him on like
Yeah.
first
is
take.
peak Rob
Rob
Parker.
Pizza.
It might have been first and
I was
10
like,
at that point.
holy shit, Rob Parker's right in front of me.
Parker. Yeah, there was a lot of great moments. And to your point, there was a lot of great players that had great moments in that game that it still somehow outsized their career. Like anybody, if you get to the show and have a career like Bobby Abreu, which is like a great
I literally
career.
just said that name back here.
Yeah.
His home run derby was spectacular.
He had an incredible career.
And the second half of his season was a nightmare.
Yeah, dude, his career might have ended that night for all I know. He had a great home run derby, and I know his production took a shit after that. And next thing you know, Bobby Abreu isn't around anymore.
Were you shocked to learn that Josh Hamilton did not win that home run derby? Because I felt like he won it.
Wait, he didn't win? I was there.
He didn't win.
He didn't win it, but he won it. He did win it.
He
He's
exhausted
the rare
himself.
guy who didn't win, but he won. Right.
Exactly, based off
seriously,
the PR of
who
it.
won?
But I think what it was is that was why they started changing the rules, because he had such an unbelievable round, but then was exhausted by the end of it, and so he ended up losing the home run derby. I'll look up and figure out who
So
it was.
what are the rules now?
Genuinely, I don't know the answer to what you're asking.
That
me.
was 08? Oof.
And then Hamilton said that whole bunch of nonsense afterward. He had a dream about the home run derby at Yankee Stadium. Get out of
Justin
here.
Morneau beat him.
Yeah.
It was Justin
Wow,
He's an
Justin
MVP,
Morneau.
Yeah.
MVP, yeah, one of the like
sick.
more forgettable MVPs
Beat him
out there.
5-3 in the final.
Wow.
Hey, do you have that? You only because you alluded to it. Do you have that clip of Nick Jonas on
I
with
have
us?
the Nick Jonas one. He wasn't on with us. This is me, Mike, and Stugotz at the desk near the range in Tahoe, and we were right near the medical tent where they would get work done. And so Nick Jonas. Oh, we actually have it on video that we can play here in a second. That's good. He's walking by the medical tent on his way to get some treatment. You can see in this clip behind us is that trailer where the medical tent is. So Nick Jonas walking by us, and this is our moment to have our moment with Nick Jonas. And let's see if Mike screws it up.
Hey, what's up, Nick?
Good luck today. That shot on 18. My God, dog.
Dog,
Bah.
you made it weird. That time you embarrassed us.
Yeah, I
Mike.
did.
He literally looked through you right there like, what?
Yeah.
It's so good.
I have not worn that shirt since, in large part because I probably can't fit in it anymore. But I got really drunk that day. Like that's the.
You were hammered. Yeah.
I don't think I've
Were
been
you hammered there?
No. But I there's a clip of me slurring, and I'm pretty sure it's that day. I had no idea how strong the signature cocktail at Lake Tahoe.
Wasn't it like a strawberry
It
lemonade?
was Iguodala that you stumbled on. I think.
Yeah, it was
Iguodala,
like it's called the Big Celebrity Crush. It's like a $23 drink. Thing goes down like water. It's incredible. Yeah. And I had no idea how strong those things were. And so I decided this is a great time out here with Lewis. Let me have 7 of these. And I started slurring, and I just so associate that polo with that shame and how drunk I was that I'm never wearing it again. I see it every now and then. I'm like, can I fit in this shirt? Can I fit in this shirt? Oh, God, that's the shirt that I was like super drunk in a Tahoe. Can't wear that shirt. Yeah, let me know when you have like me slurring.
Whenever we find that we could play it, but I do have the rules here of home run derby if you want it. Right?
Well, it was they're getting on you, Jeremy. It was a lot better than the silence.
Yeah, I was trying to just
that was
fill
there.
the silence,
So
so I
I
was just going to sit there.
appreciate
Sorry.
that.
Do you
Let me
guys
know what
feel
comes
bad?
up.
Do you guys feel bad for Morneau because he won the home run derby? Yet no one thinks that he did.
No one comes up to
Everybody-
him.
I feel terrible for him. Porno. I do.
Porno?
Justin Porno.
Oh, wait, that's a different guy.
Totally. He was taking porn hacks that day, but it was a totally different.
But the guy won, and the only thing anyone remembers from that home run derby is Josh Hamilton.
So nothing comes up when you search Mike Slur.
Mike drunk. I'll type in slur. I was doing drunk.
Mike,
avoid that one.
Yeah. Well, let me know if something pops up that isn't me actually slurring over my words, so we can promptly purge the system of that. It was wild making content in 2007.
It was. I'm sad to hear though that you're over Tahoe because
I mean, I in terms of like the jaw-dropping beauty, I did do something that was fairly touristy, dude, and it was a sunset cruise.
Oh yeah, was it nice?
I thought I was gonna hate it because it's a very touristy thing to do, but I literally did it just to get my dad off my back. My dad went to Tahoe once and he became the expert on Lake Tahoe, even though he was following all of my recs. The one thing that he did on his own, because my dad is a lone wolf, bachelor. He's lived his entire life basically by himself. And he did a sunset cruise by himself, and he said it was amazing. I'm like, number one, that's really weird. And two, I don't want to do this. But I literally did it to shut him up, and it was incredible. Do the sunset cruise in Lake Tahoe. And so you can really see the enormity of the place because it is gorgeous.
I enjoy alone time. I mean, I don't mind traveling by myself. I don't mind going to concerts by myself. I don't mind golfing by myself. In fact, in some instances, I prefer it. I mean,
Golfing's
I don't want
the
to
one-
have a conversation.
I'll push back on golfing. I don't like golfing alone. Everything else, I'm kind of with you on traveling. I mean, I think it would run its course at some point. Like, it's cool for a few days, but
Right.
So Cynthia and I saw Stugotz by himself. Again, it's not a lie.
Having a blast.
I was trying to avoid Stugotz. I was staying at the same hotel that Stugotz was. Cindy and I were having breakfast, and we literally put our menus in front of our faces as Stugotz was very clearly going on a cigarette break.
Oh, yeah.
And they have like a designated, it's kind of sad, they have an area outside where people can smoke their cigarettes. And it's just like these 4 chairs that are all facing one another.
Right in front of my room.
Like
right in front of my room.
They knew you were coming. It's like a cigarette cipher.
No, there's people smoking right in front of my room. I open up the window because the window opens all the way up. I'm like, hey, you're smoking on my yard. Get
weed's
outta
legal
here.
there. There's people smoking everywhere, isn't there?
Well, you can have forest fires. Like, so they're
Oh,
very
yeah, I've only smoked in the smoking areas there. for sure.
they're very cognizant of this fact, and they try to have it all isolated. So you have just like a really sad cipher of seats. they're all kind of
Look at
like
each other and
they're-
smoke.
White's a terrible color for a chair that's outside, regardless. But you also have like it being stained with tobacco.
I mean,
It's not white anymore.
Cigarette smoking areas are never like the happiest places on earth. Like they're generally about that.
I will say, like, in terms of like a vista, this is one of the more beautiful cigarette smoking areas, but it's still sad because it seems like second-class citizens like go over there on this wobbly chair that will never stay flat. It's not on flat ground anyways, and it's been warped by the asses that have sat in it over
And it's
the
right in
last few
front of my
decades.
room. I mean, these people aren't staying at the hotel.
tell you, my smoking
These
section-
locals coming by having a smoke right in front of my room.
My smoking section was right by the 10th green. Or no, is it the 9th green? What is it that it's like
The porta potties?
is it near the porta potties?
Yeah.
I don't know what you know what? I haven't been there in a couple years. I don't remember what hole specifically. So let's forget I said anything. Back to you guys.
Have you found the Iguodala bit yet or no?
Nothing came up with the Mike Slur search. Well, I'm actually pretty pumped about
Do you want
that.
those home run derby rules?
I do want those home run derby rules.
They're very bizarre. The first round is either.
Wait, can someone pull up like the favorites on DraftKings Sportsbook too? And like, is
Alonzo.
It was there the whole
Pete
time.
Alonso is the favorite,
Yes,
I
of
believe.
course.
There,
All he cares
I
about.
found it.
Oh,
It was
damn.
there the whole time.
There's a lot of paperwork that you got to do to get a super follow.
What do you mean paperwork?
I'm
super
following my. There's procedural shit that you got to take care of.
I'm
You gotta,
intrigued. I'm
like,
intrigued.
do you know the last 4 digits of your social security?
You don't sound bad at all.
Social-
Jesus Christ.
You wanna redo
Holy
that?
shit, Tahoe, kick your ass. Oh my
mean-
God.
You were doing fine.
I was doing great before that.
Yeah, go pee again.
Do you know the last 4 digits of your security? Security? Or did of your social security?
You don't sound bad at all.
Social-
Jesus Christ.
You wanna redo
Holy
that?
shit, Tahoe, kick your ass.
I actually think that was a different year in a different church.
It may have been.
That was 2022. 7/11/2022 is when we.
Oh
saved
no,
that.
all right, that was Pink Elephant shirt.
What was the year I got to JT? What year was that?
I think that was all the same year.
Oh,
We
geez.
crushed
Yeah.
it that year.
We had a
We
year.
did that, and then the next year you did the Aaron Rodgers thing. So it's been
That was last year.
yeah.
And the first year you got hit by Ray Romano.
And the first year I
which
got
was
hit by
the
Ray
best thing of
Romano.
all time.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I-
I saw him hitting on 17th tee yesterday, and I was just like, or Sunday. Yeah, it was yesterday, and I was just like, man. he hit
Memories
me
of
there.
Saigon,
He
like
hit me
you
there.
hear the chopper sound in the back, scared dog meme. Jeremy, I don't care about the rules anymore. We'll just
Yeah,
move
I
on.
understand.
I really am going to campaign for Lucy to go to a Columbia soccer match at some point. Just go to like the league. I think that's a great addition of off-roading. When I came in,
Maybe she doesn't want to go though. I mean,
You guys have scared me from going.
you should be scared. Like it was.
It seems terrifying, and I don't do well in stressful situations. I get tummy aches when I'm anxious, so I'm not even going to be able to do anything.
Or vents. I mean,
I thought that was just like a Disney Channel thing. I never thought people actually climbed at vents. I thought it was like a quicksand type of deal where it's just something you see on Disney.
You've never watched Die Hard?
I've seen Die Hard. I don't like Die Hard because because I'm really queasy with blood, and the scene where he has to like walk on the glass,
barefoot.
I can't do it.
I see those people climbing through a vent to get into a sporting event, and I feel sad for them. I get a life.
I
What
don't
are
know.
you doing?
I don't know how journalism works in reporting, but I have a source, a text that somebody affiliated with that stadium that doesn't lead anywhere, and that inside there, like they talk to an AC guy that works at the stadium, and they're like, there's probably people inside an empty wall. Like there's where those people are climbing right now leads nowhere.
Yeah. So hopefully they turned around and realized that there were a bunch of people that were. I saw a credentialed media member got tackled by police. I know people that had credentials to this event and weren't able to actually access their credentials because of everything that went down. So thankfully you weren't at this one, Lucy, but I wanted to talk to you about it with all your experience. But then I stumbled upon your purse, and I thought this was like a really cool purse. For those that don't have the video accompaniment, the handle is a ruby red phone, like Dorothy's shoes, but it's an old school handset for a phone. And I was like, wow, what a really cool thing that you picked up thrifting, because I know you go thrifting, but that's not an old school purse.
No, it is not. So most of you know it was my birthday last week. Thank you. And I always give myself something nice for my birthday. And I saw a TikTok of this, and I was so easily influenced, and I needed it. It's Betsy Johnson. Betsy Johnson makes like a bunch of weird, quirky stuff. She's a very famous designer. And so I saw this, and I was like, I need this purse phone bag. And so the coolest part about this purse phone is that it works.
What?
So Chris Cody is going to call me, and I'm going to pick up on my purse phone.
So you can direct all your calls to your purse phone?
Yeah. So if you like need to call me, I'll just pick up. Okay, so
You guys
Chris
hear
is
the
calling
ringing?
me. Look, you can see this ringing. I don't know if you can hear the sound, but I'm going to pick it up. Oh, hello?
Oh yeah.
It's a purse phone.
Hey,
what's
what's
up?
up, Lucy? How's it
That's
going?
amazing.
Do you know, like?
What are you doing
Do you
today?
realize if James Bond did this in the
too.
1960s, we'd all be like, "Get out of town! Get out of town!"
This is super cool. All right, I'll talk to you later.
Okay, I'll talk to you later. Wait,
All right,
I
bye.
can hang up. I can hang up. You don't hang up.
All right, no, you
Yeah,
hang up.
she's got the satisfying. Can it click?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I have this little button here that will like answer my calls and then hang up my calls, and then it has these little buttons here that will like adjust the volume, and I just put it and I click it
Oh,
back into my
But you
I
purse.
know
can't
it's-
slam it down. You
No,
can't
I
do
can't
that.
slam it down, which
Right.
sucks, and I wish that the little like turn buttons worked on it, but I can't like direct any calls out of it. It's Bluetooth connected to my actual phone.
Do you have any actual life experience with hanging up a landline?
Yeah, I'm,
Like in
It's a
anger?
great feeling.
Yes.
It's dude, it's an underrated
oh my
feeling.
God, well,
Or a
like,
payphone.
Oh,
So-
have you ever used a payphone?
I've never used a payphone.
Oh,
Me either.
and-
That's how you would get picked up from the youth fair.
Yeah, what youth fair?
The Dade County Youth Fair. Yeah, you
Well,
would
I'm
call.
not
You would
from
either beep your ride.
Yep.
Sometimes you'd beep a crush like 8008.
By beep, you're saying pager, right? Like a pager, right?
Wait, what did you do?
Yeah.
Not to be a bummer, but when my parents got divorced, my divorce gift was a cell phone. And so I had a cell phone at a really young age, which my first cell phone, my homemade lava lamp exploded on it. And then my second cell phone, I lost in Toys R Us because that's how young I was. And so I've had like a bunch of cell phones, and I've had like the cool like flip to hang up cell phone, which I missed that a lot. And then I had a landline before my parents got divorced. So that's just another thing I lost. So, but now I have my purse phone, which I'm not going to give my number out, so no one call me.
It
But my
needs-
friends can call me.
It needs a satisfying like
Well, it has a button.
feeling.
It
No,
has
the button doesn't
No,
do it.
no,
You got to
a
slam a
slam
phone
down
down.
feeling. Yeah.
It's super satisfying.
If you
to
watch
your-
Dante's Peak, Pierce Brosnan picks up a phone. He's like, "Put the town on alert," and he slams it, and
you can
it's like way
practice
more
on
effective.
my purse phone if you want, but please be gentle
We have to
with
put the
it.
town on alert.
Oh, and
got
for
it.
the audio listeners, my bag is super cute. It has cherries on it, and the phone is bedazzled.
Really? Now, can you see who's calling you when the call comes in?
No, so
That was another one of the charms of having a landline.
Right, you had no idea what you were getting. I mean, it could be
I would answer it as like a
Right.
6-year-old boy, and they would always say, "Hello, ma'am." I'm like, "What's your problem?" I lived with my grandparents at the turn of the century, which seems like a really dated way to do that, but I was in high school. This is when the PS2 came out, and they actually had a rotary phone, which made like calling for PS2s a mission because everything was press 2 for electronics, press 2. I don't have a touch-tone phone, so like I'm literally like going 2, nothing's happening because I don't actually type anything out on the rotary phone. So that's how old I am. But now I'm really excited to get home and at 4 o'clock play a video game like you wouldn't believe.
Speaking of 4 o'clock, the boys, me and Taylor streaming.
Wow,
NCAA
the
football
second it
25.
drops?
The second it drops, as you can see on screen, the boys going to be ready, 4 o'clock.
Why?
Biggest game on the planet.
Why are you doing this? I would not want to be on the internet the first time. I need to be by myself.
That's
experiencing
the thing.
this.
I hear you, but we're doing this for the masses that don't. Maybe you're at work. Maybe you don't have the opportunity to go out and get it. Like, we're doing it for them. So everybody in the chat, everybody who's listening, go check us out, 4 o'clock, all the usual places.
What a sacrifice. You're so brave.
Have you also told your wife this day is coming and that you're going to be a worse version of yourself?
She knows. And obviously she's pregnant and we're expecting and it's coming to the momentum is, hey, look, this is what I'm going to be doing. I just want you to know.
Newborn baby.
Not for long, Tony.
Newborn baby, though.
5 months, 6 months.
Low key, that's a great time to get into gaming because your social life is ruined anyways.
That's what I'm
So
saying.
you're just kind of leaning into it by doing that. But my wife and we both scheduled a lot of activities for this week. I'm going to a concert tomorrow night. Not too jacked about that now. I'm going on a boat on the weekend. Kind of already regretting that.
Get some rest, man.
Twisters is coming out. I'm doing Twisters.
I'm kind of locked on.
Are you pumped for Twisters?
I'm down. Are you doing a renting out the theater again?
Yeah, you want to come with?
What
Here's
day?
what I'm doing. You know my experience with the last Mission Impossible movie. I got a 4DX seat, and I didn't know what that meant. And so my wife and I, we order a bottle of wine. And I'm trying to pour it as Ethan is motorcycling or running, and it's just so now the challenge is I'm gonna wear all white to Twisters and drink a bottle of wine, and see what the damage is at the end of it. Because I'm doing 4DX now. Glenn Powell is a superstar. Superstar.
He is having a moment.
Dude, that dude is such a movie star.
So charismatic.
Dude, anybody, we're going to look back at that cast of Top Gun Maverick. Miles Teller had a huge gallery at the ACC.
He did.
That is going to king-make so many people. Not only did Tom Cruise save cinema with Top Gun Maverick, but he also entered in a whole new generation of Hollywood movie stars because we hadn't had those tentpole movie stars, and now Glenn Powell is going to breathe new life into the Twisters franchise. I'm really excited about this. Early reviews are good. I like Glenn Powell a lot. I saw his last movie too, which was like a direct-to-stream. It was about
Is that the Hitman one?
Yeah,
I saw it.
Oh,
It
it's
wasn't
great.
yeah, it was
I
really
love
good.
that movie.
Yeah, I'm a big Glenn Powell guy. Danny Ramirez is also in Top Gun Maverick. He's a local guy. I think he went to Coral Park. Big Canes fan, friend of mine. His career is blowing the F up. He's in the trailer for the new Captain America movie. He's doing a movie with Joaquin Phoenix. I'm telling you.
So Tom Cruise is making careers.
Tom Cruise saved cinema. Mm-hmm. He should be thanked.
I
even
agree
though
with you.
I know he's weird and it comes with a lot of baggage and stuff, but that dude is undeniably a movie star and he saved cinema and he should get a special Oscar for doing so.
I really like Glenn Powell, and I like that he keeps bringing his dog everywhere with him. Very cute little dog. But my thing with Glenn Powell is I'm getting a little nervous that we might be overdoing it because it feels like he's in every movie lately. And I like him. I think he's really good and charismatic and fun. But I feel like he has 2 more big movies in the upcoming future
We'll
to
get
turn
tired
into
of him.
Chris Pratt, where we're
Yeah,
hey, we
that's
just had a
always the
little too
concern.
much of you in one short period of time. So I think Glenn Powell should just chill out for a little bit. I heard he's moving back to Texas. I know he's a big college football fan, so he's probably playing the game.
Yeah.
So just, Glenn, take a little break, keep posting the dog content, and then come back so that we don't get too sick of it.
So lighten up
break.
on the Powell is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Do a hit
But I
on
like
College
him.
Game Day.
I don't know, but for some actors, that doesn't, we had a lot of Tom Cruise early on, and that didn't seem to impact his career. He was fine.
No,
But
he
there's
came out
social
totally normal
media.
by it. Hollywood didn't make Tom Cruise weird at all.
I'm just saying we didn't get tired of Tom Cruise.
But you didn't have social media doing what is happening right now with Glenn Powell.
Tom-
Because if you go on TikTok or you go on Twitter right now, he is everywhere doing everything, doing TikTok dances, doing press tours where they're linking him to every single actress that he's in a movie with and doing the relationship baiting. But he's just the most charismatic person that exists right now, and you don't want to you want to like enjoy that charisma as opposed to overdoing it. I get what Lucy's saying.
I think I can make a solid argument that Top Gun Maverick is one of the most important movies ever.
Agreed.
Not just because it was awesome. It was a great movie.
It was the middle of the pandemic. It's the first time I went out to do anything during the pandemic.
We needed that to work so bad. I don't think you have things like Barbenheimer that happen afterwards. I went to the movies for Tenet, and it was not an event. We needed something to bring us back. But also, we're talking about Tom Cruise as if like we've never gotten sick of him. Tom Cruise needed Top Gun Maverick too. He really stuck his neck out for that. He needed that bad. Remember, the going clear thing kind of ruined Tom Cruise. It certainly canceled in terms of a lot of people left the Church of Scientology. A lot of people distanced themselves from it. Tom Cruise needed that.
He needed the movie, the role.
And also,
Yes.
we got stars. We ushered in a whole new generation of movie stars. That is one of, low-key, like the most important movies ever made.
Speaking of creepy Cruise, did you see him at Wimbledon yesterday?
No, I
Center court, right behind Kate Middleton. It was fantastic.
So my flight got delayed leaving. Tahoe is so beautiful, and I feel like they go out of their way to make it really impossible to get there.
Oh, it's hard, man.
It's really difficult. Yeah. And my wife and I, we had made a commitment to start our dynasty at in the University in Nevada, #Battleborn. And then our flight got canceled at the airport, and we ceased being able to see ourselves there. You can negative recruit this place. It's not easy to get to. My flight got canceled, and it forced me to miss the Wimbledon men's final, which seemed like a dream matchup.
Yes.
Did the match deliver at all? Like, it's something that I wanted to dedicate all the time in the world for, and I couldn't. I was on a plane.
It did not deliver. Alcaraz is so good, and I'm not certain. I don't know how many people, especially within our crew, love tennis. I know you and I love tennis. We talk about tennis all the time, and Alcaraz, what he is doing is historical. He is 21 years old. He just won the French. He won on the grass courts of Wimbledon. 4 or 5 guys in the history of tennis have won those 2 tournaments in the same year. He's got the U.S. Open coming up. He's likely going to win that. The most impressive thing about Alcaraz yesterday, Mike, was that he took care of Djokovic, and he did so in 3 sets.
Mm-hmm.
And the
that
third
doesn't
set,
happen.
the third set, the Joker, he was pushing him. He was pushing him. In fact, he had 3 match points. Alcaraz did. He lost that game. Then it went to a tiebreaker, and Alcaraz somehow got past that mentally and was able to finish it off. But to see that guy beat the Joker in 3 consecutive sets on his court, that is his court. It's the surface he likes the most. And to have a guy now who has 4 majors at the age of 21, he's on path to be the greatest tennis player we've ever seen. Spain had a day yesterday.
Yeah, Spain had a day, no doubt, and they're also just going to boss tennis now. It seems like that's their thing. So it's really unfortunate that Djokovic is dealing with these injuries now, because he was still, prior to this recent injury stretch, he was still as good as he ever was.
Correct.
And so you could have that measuring stick for Alcaraz, but he's probably going to go on a bit of a Federer-like run in that, remember at the very beginning of Federer's run, Nadal wasn't on board yet. Murray was still finding his footing. Like the top guy.
Djokovic wasn't there yet.
Djokovic wasn't really, like he was really young. Like he was going up against the likes of Andy Roddick, and there was a huge gulf between Fed and the rest of the field. I don't think it's quite that, because guys like Medvedev and Sinner are going to push him, but he's pretty clearly better than them. And we'll see what that means for tennis, because I think there's a really special time that we're coming out of in men's tennis, where I'll lump Murray in there too, because when Murray was healthy and he won
Murray
Wimbledon,
was great, yes.
His run was a little bit shorter, and his run actually just officially came to an end. But you had Wawrinka, like you had a bunch of guys operating in that generation. Stan, Andy, Nadal, Federer, Djokovic, 5 guys that if they were born just in a different time would probably be considered the greatest men's tennis player ever, because they just would have dominated the field.
Right.
They would have padded their stats so much.
Now it's just Alcaraz. Like, he has no one pushing him. It feels like the only guy pushing him is Djokovic. He's getting older. He's coming off the injury.
Sinner's there, and there's a lot of – look, American tennis is really good.
Yeah.
Like, we got a couple of guys that can possibly push him. And, you know, you've seen the Marty Fish documentary on Netflix. Like, these tennis pros, they become consumed with taking down the top guy. I don't think one guy is going to run it, but I do think Carlos is going to have the run of it for like a few majors.
Tennis is funny in that you always think, okay, the superstars are done. There's no one around the corner. But there's always someone around the corner.
Yeah.
Like I didn't know Alcaraz was going to be this. I didn't know he existed 3 years ago.
Yeah. And there's a couple of guys that can maybe rebound. Like Wawrinka was a guy that, he can actually be elite. I didn't really see that. Djokovic also started his career like, okay, is this guy going to be a bump in the road for these guys, or is he actually going to have a say? And you had those questions about him. I think I have questions about the surrounding field around Alcaraz right now. Like I could see them getting there. Like Tsitsipas, is he a guy that can turn it around because he has all the tools? Can he actually find that promise? I don't know. Jeremy, did you find like the Roger Federer run before like those guys got online?
It's crazy,
It's
right?
a crazy run because he won his first Wimbledon in 2003, and then he won three Grand Slams in 2004, 2 Grand Slams in 2005, 3 Grand Slams in 2006, and 2 Grand Slams in 2007.
Yeah, I think like
that's crazy.
Like the mid 2000s, like I think he lost to Del Potro, who was another guy that might have been like all-time great if he didn't get super hurt. But it wasn't.
It's like when Jordan played. There were just a lot of guys who weren't going to win titles because Jordan was there.
We've all kind of convinced ourselves that was what that generation was. It was just those 3 guys just ripping each other's heads off trying to get there. And no, like Federer had a pretty sustained run, and it took like several years of those guys running into that wall before they could finally topple him.
But this was interesting yesterday, and you'll appreciate this because you know this happened. With Federer towards the end, he was working so hard, and he was getting older, and still putting in the same amount of work, if not more, because he had to compensate for the fact that he was getting older. Then he realized, what am I doing all this for? I get to the finals, I can't beat the Joker. I can't beat Nadal in France, and I can't beat the Joker anywhere else. I'm out of here. I'm done. And I seem to sense that with Djokovic yesterday. It doesn't matter what I do, how hard I train.
I'm going
to get to the finals and play this guy, and I'm not going to beat him. He's a younger version of me.
Yeah, that's so. Like when Nadal burst on the scene, I know Nadal was always good on clay, and he was giving Federer like fits on clay at the French, right, at Roland Garros.
Yeah, it was 2005, 6, 7, and 8. It was Nadal in the French, and then 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. And then 17, 18, 19, 20, and 22.
Like the moment everything changed, though.
That's crazy. You're laughing at it.
It's ridiculous.
The moment everything changed, though, was when Nadal beat Federer at Wimbledon. Because now he could do it at another.
That was 2008. He also
for
beat
my
him
money,
in
the greatest men's tennis match of all time. The 2008 final between Federer and Nadal. That was unbelievable. I could rewatch that match.
You're including the Isner match at Wimbledon, first round? That took 3 days?
They changed the rules because of that match. Because of Isner. No, there's a lot of great, there's a lot of scrappy, there's a lot of D-Gen favorites. Like, Isner's a longtime D-Gen favorite. Gail Monfils is another guy that you'd go to war with.
Is this the longest any sports show in the history of sports radio or podcasting has talked tennis? I think Roddick has a podcast called Served Up. I'm not even certain he talks tennis. I don't know. I'm just asking. Putting it out there. I'm enjoying the conversation.
Dane comes back tomorrow. Right. It should be noted.
Tennis in now.
We really shoehorned. We had 2 months of Stugotz's tennis takes, and we had to get out there.
I mean, Alcaraz, man. He's pacing to be the greatest player of all time. I love tennis. I never thought I would see someone better than Federer, Nadal, Djokovic. This guy's better.
I'm not
better.
There. I'm not there yet. He's really great.
Now, he made the people, they had the Champions Dinner last night, and he made these people, all the people attending, wait around until 10 p.m. to eat dinner on a Sunday night. That is rude.
They do their dinner on the back end of the tournament.
It was last night.
I know the Masters do theirs like the front end before the tournament starts. The previous.
I like that.
They have a dance. It's like a ball, and you have dinner. But he was watching England and Spain, so he made everyone wait around till 10. They're rude. I mean, by the way, I'm not going if that's the deal. I'll eat at 7 and. You show up and I'm not there, too bad.
Stu, you got to start putting pressure on Alcaraz immediately, though, because you look at this run for Federer, you look at the run Nadal had at the French Open, and you need to see, all right,
do it 10 years in a row.
How many Grand Slams can you win early before that next challenge shows up for you?
He hasn't won in Australia yet. Do it down under.
You got to figure it out. Just start issuing challenges.
Are you going to challenge Marty Fish to do it against Steph Curry?
I mean, listen, Marty, the reason this meant so much to Marty is the year he won it, there were no fans there. And I've been giving him a hard time saying, do it in front of the fans. And so,
is that his only second win?
That's only his second win, yeah.
So last year he had the incident where he was leading on 18.
Horseshit Someone,
Yeah.
So do it in front of the fans, and then the fans went out of their way to actively sabotage his championship last year.
Correct. And they did. They cost him a championship. Steph Curry won it, did not come back.
He won, to his credit, he won it with an eagle on 18.
and a hole-in-one
And he had a
earlier in
hole
the
in
round.
one as well. Tim Brown had a hole in one yesterday.
Yeah, he got a boat, but he lives in Dallas.
Just gets a check, right? They're like, you can take the
You
boat,
can
or
take
we'll
the
just
boat
cut
or
you.
take the. I guess there's a lake somewhere in suburban Fort Worth.
So Marty's upset because last year it was in front of the fans and he should have won, but some guy yelled whatever he yelled during his backswing. Yesterday he did win in front of the fans, but he won without Steph Curry being there. So do it when Steph is there.
I think people that don't watch this tournament are just thinking, oh, a bunch of celebrities playing golf. Who cares? Marty's Saturday
It's
golf.
unbelievable.
His putting
He's amazing.
on Saturday
Yes.
is an all-time golfing achievement.
Agreed.
I don't know the exact numbers, but it felt like over 6 putts of over 25 feet.
It was right up there, I'm telling you, with Nicholas back 9 Augusta 1986. The putting.
Did you see when the fan chirped him? So a fan Marty goes up to the green to putt for birdie, and the fan goes, "Hey Marty, hope you 3-putt," which is like, number one, who the F has a problem with Marty Fish and cares that much about to say that?
Oddly specific chirp, too.
Yeah,
Someone who has money on someone other than Marty Fish.
well, that's what happened. Dude, that's what happened the year before. The dude that heckled Marty on the backswing, he was caught, and he said, "I'm sorry, I thought we were having fun out here. I have a bet on Steph Curry." So, there is elements that you can gamble on this thing.
Right.
So the dude starts talking shit to Marty, starts chirping him, and Marty is like, "What is this guy's deal? We're all here trying to have fun." Marty buries a 42-foot putt and goes right at the guy. Talk your stuff now and whatnot. That fan got escorted, by the way. It's a pretty boss move.
Hell out of here.
Dude, to nail a 42-foot bird.
So at the players' meeting, they went out of their way to say, if fans are talking while you're playing, while you're swinging, point them out, and we'll take them out. So you weren't at the players' meeting. I snuck my way in, and I knew that rule going in.
Was Jerry Rice at the
Marty
players'
Fish
meeting?
rule.
Because something went a little viral
I
with
don't know
Jerry.
what's going on. What is happening with Jerry Rice?
We'll
Someone
escort
explain
them
to me.
out, not take them out.
Jerry got in.
Good
Dude,
clarification.
Jerry, it was an ugly video that got posted. I don't know. TMZ Sports had it. Jerry was making the walk from 17, which is a party hole, to 18.
Such a harmless chirp that he got.
The guy,
Like the opposite of the
was a
Marty thing was
credential-
at least very specific. This is just like, hey, the Chiefs have good receivers.
No, it wasn't a chirp. It was a credentialed media guy. Now, granted,
But it was kind of
context.
chirpy. It was like,
well, I could see where he would be bothered by the question because Jerry Rice, Niners legend.
But also, if you were in the players' meeting like I was the night before, you would have learned no questions while the guys are walking down a fairway.
Well, he wasn't walking down the fairway.
It doesn't matter. No questions while they're playing golf.
it looked like that little middle area between
Where
like
there's
17 the
that's
basketball.
that's
no
where if you want
questions
a selfie, if you want an autograph, that's where you post up. Now, there's not typically media there, credentialed media there, asking you questions as you make that walk, but that is the fun walk of Edgewood. Like that's where you have your fun. And a dude with a credential went up to Jerry Rice as he's making the walk, and this isn't even like a tournament day. This is Thursday. This is the loose day. And he says, "Hey Jerry, what do you think? How do you think the Niners receivers stack up against Kansas City?" Now, that could be loaded.
Even if the world,
San Francisco,
even with the Super Bowl, it's just a harmless question.
It's a harmless question, and it's coming from a credentialed media member. Jerry snaps.
Yep.
And he's like, "I will F you up right now." Like, the temperature of the room changed. Like,
he acted like he got disrespect. He's like, that was disrespectful.
He misunderstood the question.
No, he says, "I will F you up. Meet me. You say when." Like, the guy got hauled away. He was a credentialed media member. Like, he went back the next day. It was just an ugly scene.
But Jerry, and then I see him, he's all happy on Sunday. He's playing in the tournament. But there was another story there where I heard a guy, I overheard this conversation, telling security that Jerry Rice was rude to him, that he asked him to sign an autograph, and Jerry Rice snapped back, "Hey, you're a memorabilia guy. You're going to sell this thing for a lot more money."
I get that. I get
No,
that.
Mike, part
complaint.
of the
if
deal
Jerry
there-
recognizes like you're a memorabilia dealer and you're just trying to get one over, you're not actually a fan. I can get that one.
Yeah, but the guy wasn't. It was for his kid. Like, you're there, sign the stuff.
Oh, well, he was lying about it? Well, then
Yes.
I can't get behind that.